Good morning, everyone. I hope wherever you are in the world, you are well today. It feels like the weather has shifted, the sun is out, and it is time to get some things done. But the first thing I need to get done is to feed little Rafa because he's hungry and I have got to run out for a blood test. So there's a bunch of things we've got to get done today. I want to get back out in the garden. As I said, it feels like the weather has shifted. Today is a beautiful sunny day and hopefully it won't be as windy as it has been in recent days when the seasons shift down in the bay. Because we're coastal, it actually feels like you move to a new windy season and it's just like quite unpleasant to be outside. But it does feel like it's warming up. We've got 2 more weeks of winter and I want to get my spring seedlings in the ground. And normally I would take Rafa for a walk first because otherwise he's a nutter. But I've got to go and get a blood test first thing because apparently I've got to do it before I exercise. So that's first on the agenda today. So to keep Rafa from being too much of a mischief monster, I made these 2 frozen enrichment toys. One's a Kong, one's a Topple last night with a bit of extra goat breakfast. And hopefully this will keep him amused for at least half an hour, which will give me time to sneak out, get the blood test, grab a few groceries while I'm out, and get back before he decides he's going to launch a protest because he hasn't been for a walk yet. So the first thing I'm going to do is set up to plant my seeds. I've got to go through all the seeds. I just ordered some more, and I need to work out which ones are the priorities to get going early in spring. And if need be, I'll bring them in overnight so they can be inside with the warm fire air. But basically there are things like peas that I really want to start early because I had a very wonderful bunch of peas that were doing a beautiful job, and the peas, when you shelled them, oh my god, they were so good, but they got hit by a fungal disease with all the rain we've had, and so they're gone. The thing I've noticed since last time I planted seeds is that I'm now getting little snapdragons popping up everywhere. So those seeds have actually been carried by the wind from the peach and orange colored snapdragons, and they're kind of popping up in the cracks in the concrete, and it's kind of lovely to see how nature can just thrive. That being said, all the weeds have got to come out. For the time being, I'm going to let the snapdragons do their thing, but I've got to pull the weeds out of the concrete pavements as well. So you know, nothing much to do today. There's a few other small things I need to do today, like I need to order a lens cap for this camera because Rafi ate it when I dropped it outside, and I need to find the tripod attachment that stabilizes the camera because I put that down somewhere this morning and I can't find it. But I'm having trouble with my food saver because it's not compatible with the jar vacuum seal, and I have to send food saver like 6,000 photos apparently in order to resolve the issue, so I need to deal with that this afternoon. But these pots, all my winter pots, just look so bad, so they all need to clean out as well. I've got all my stuff out to do the seedlings, and the garlic also must go in the ground today. So this is the main thing I want to get done today. I want to get my spring seedlings done, I want to get the garlic in the ground, and ideally I would like to mow and clean out the veggie bed. So that's quite a lot to get done, but that's not all that's on the list for today. The lemon tree behind me needs a prune. It's got very significant thorns on the lower level of that tree, and that's stopping me from getting the lemons on the top of the tree. And lemons is one of the other things I need to deal with. So you saw this morning I had a ton of lemons by the kitchen sink. I actually need to juice them and dehydrate them and get them going. This won't be a job for today, but it needs to happen at some point. These are the garden beds of the property that I moved into, and you can see they're totally overgrown with weeds, and they were kind of like this when I moved in, but it's obviously gotten a lot worse with all the rain we've had, so I need to clear all of that out as well, but that probably won't happen today. One other thing that I would like to do today, if I get lucky and if I'm nice and efficient, is that I would like to spend an hour writing. I come from a healthcare background. I sold my practice and quit my job about 18 months ago, and I was supposed to use that time to write and build up a back catalogue of books so that I could make my income from writing, which is what I would like to do. that didn't happen. Life got complicated. My dog died. I've had endless medical dramas, and so I've been dealing with that. So I need to get back on the track of writing. I need to refocus, and I need to stop letting my medical dramas dictate how much I get done, because they're not going anywhere and I need to get back to writing. Raffy, want to sit on it too? Raffy, want to sit on it too? Good. Look. Raffy, sit here. Yeah, Raffy, sit. What do you want to grow? What do you want to grow? Raffy likes broccoli. Raffy likes peas. Oh. Okay. The permanent marker is not marking at all well on these, and it doesn't seem to be a side of the stick issue, but I couldn't find a pencil inside or a proper ballpoint pen, so it'll just have to do for now, and maybe that means it cleans off easier down the track. Are you going to swim while I do the seedlings, hey? He likes to try and bite the sticker off the bottom of the paddling pool. He doesn't seem to understand it's part of the pool. These are the seeds I've settled on, so I'm going to take you through them. So the first one are these Cosmo Pink Candy Stripe flowers. These are the seeds that we harvested actually maybe like 2 months ago, and I was just in love with these flowers. So even though there's already a fairly substantial amount of flower taking up the veggie patch, I'm definitely planting some more of these because they were so beautiful. Something I want to get in the ground as soon as possible is zucchinis, because they produce really well. I eat a lot of zucchinis, and I'm going to try this yellow variety of zucchini, which I've never eaten before. I've been doing some research on the microbiome, and it sort of implies that the more different varieties of vegetables you eat, the better your microbiome, and the people who live the longest and have the healthiest tummies eat about 60 different varieties of vegetables. So I got a lot of work to do. I would like to start a butternut pumpkin and get that going early this year, because they took quite a while to get going when I planted them when I first moved in, and in the end it only produced one pumpkin. Well, it wasn't even the butternut that produced, mostly because probably I grew it from a pumpkin I bought from the supermarket. But yeah, it just got a fungal infection and died because it got too cold and too wet. So I want to get these in the ground early, because we've been told to expect another very wet spring and summer, which is bad news, but it is what it is. The bees love sunflowers, so I always want to put in some sunflowers. I don't eat a lot of silver beets, but I just want to pop a couple more in, just because the ones I've put in are nearing maturity, and I just want to make sure I have a nice kind of staggered amount of silver beets. My big priority for today is to get some lettuce going. So with our floods, the lettuce was the hardest thing to come by. This kind of lettuce became $12 a head, which is ridiculous. So I want to get some lettuce in, and the other issue item in the floods was the capsicum, so I want to get them going. And half of my onions died because of Raffy Staffy and the rain. Same can be said for the leeks, although I feel like the leeks were almost exclusively Rafa digging in the garden, but that's fine, it's his garden too. We need to get some marigolds in for bug repellents, peas because I was in love with them, and I'm going to try some broad beans as well, some butter beans as well. The reason all my soil is like this is because I was keeping it in the garage and a little bush rat came along and emptied it all over the garage, so I've had to just chuck it in my wood trolley and just hope that the rat doesn't come back and make another mess. Oddly, inside of the pack of seed raising mix from Bunnings was a chewed up bag, and it's not from the rat because we don't have that type of bag, but it's all through the soil. All through the soil. I'm about to start the seedling process. I have wet some soil with a little bit of fertilizer in it, and I had to wrestle the hose away from Rafa, which is why he's all excited now because he wants more hose. And generally speaking, I'm going to use these kind of seedling trays, mostly because they give me a little bit of room for error if I'm busy and I don't have time to get the seedlings in the ground. It means that there's a bit more space for a root ball to be created. I have historically used this kind of seedling tray, but Rafa has shown great interest in them. They are very, very hard to clean out. They just sort of shred straight away as soon as you try and clean them out. And I don't like the idea of them being a single-use plastic. These ones are much easier to clean out. They're a little bit more sturdy. So even though you can't fit as many seedling trays in the trays that I've got, it just works out easier in the long run. He's fallen asleep in the sunshine. Oh, hi buddy. The seedling trays are all prepped and ready to go. I did add one little spot of yellow tomatoes just because I had a little bit of leftover soil and a little bit of space on the trays. So we've got the sugar snap peas and the snow peas here together, and I'm going to do 2 rows of them. We don't need a crazy number of peas, just enough to cover that back wall. Then we've got the butter beans, elephant leek, California red. Again, I don't want a lot of California red onions. I've made space for a ton of cosmos, not necessarily because I'm going to plant them here, but my best friend was like in love with them when I planted them in her garden last year because I didn't have anywhere to plant last year. So she let me plant a cut flower garden in her yard, and she was obsessed with the cottage style gardens, particularly the cosmos. Rafi. We've got giant sunflowers, capsicums, brown onions in this tray because any I don't use my mum will want, but most of mine Rafa killed or got overwatered in the rain. We've got a tray of different varieties of lettuce, a tray of marigolds and zucchinis in one line and yellow zucchinis in the other, and then one whole tray of iceberg lettuce. The seedlings are done, they're up on the deck, and that was for 2 reasons. Number one is I'm about to mow and I don't want to get any grass seeds in the seedlings because I don't want to start off from a weeded place. And the other reason is I remembered as I was doing them last time I planted peas and things like zucchinis and stuff like that, direct seed, there's a little bush rat or something that comes along and eats them, particularly the peas and the sunflower seeds. So they're up on the deck so I can take them in at night, and hopefully that will let them sprout a little bit earlier because they're not getting the cold outside temperatures. I had a quick go at weeding the main veggie patch, but to be honest, I find it such a defeating thing to do because you can't pull these stupid weeds out at the root and they just keep multiplying. And when I first moved in, I tried to put like a layer of newspaper down after spraying them all with Roundup, but I don't really want to use any other weed spray and it's just not worth it. So I just pluck them, try and keep them relatively under control, and then let the cards fall where they may. So before I mow, I'm going to have a crack at these really spiky branches that have grown out of this lemon tree, and then I'm going to get rid of that, take the bin out the front and be done with the bin and get to mowing. They might not look like much, but these barbs are so sharp. Apparently my friend Rachel her husband had his tattoo on his arm done with one of these because it's a traditional Filipino method of tattooing apparently, but you can see there's just barbs everywhere. It kind of looks like a scene from Sleeping Beauty, but that's the reason why I have the compost bin here, is to stop Rafa from accidentally getting stabbed, although lately he's been running in to get the palm fronds or friands or however you say it, because he loves to rip those apart. So I've got to get rid of these. It's a safety hazard now and I don't want to go back to the vet again. This is so much better. That was such a prickly job. You only have to touch them really lightly to get full on stabbed. So I'm going to head inside now to get my ladder so I can harvest some of these lemons for my dehydrating and juicing efforts. I couldn't get all the lemons. I actually dropped a really good one over the fence, which is a bit sad, but I've got more lemons than I can possibly use. So I'm gonna clean them up later and get them all juiced up and in the freezer. If any of you guys actually also have a electric whippersnipper, I would love to know if you have the same issues that I do. To be fair, this was a free whippersnipper, so I can't complain, but it is getting worse and it cuts out just like as soon as it hits resistance. So it's definitely worse, but last year it used to take me 2 days to actually do the full perimeter of my yard because it would overheat really quickly and then take forever to actually cool down. So here, thankfully, I don't have to do as much edging, but I've basically been putting it off because last time the whippersnipper wouldn't work at all and I did it by hand with a pair of scissors. So if you have an electric whippersnipper, let me know in the comments if they're problematic or if it's just mine. But again, to be fair, mine was free, so you know, it's a free whippersnipper. Good morning, world. We planted these seedlings together 2 afternoons ago and we've already got some action, and it's only in the morning. It hasn't even been 3 afternoons, has it, Reffy? So we got the first of the little cosmos here. He's all excited because a kangaroo just nearly jumped on us as we were walking. It was like coming out of someone's front yard and it landed 2 meters away from us. And we have got a ton of iceberg lettuce coming up, which is exciting. Hopefully signs of a bountiful spring. They've now officially been in the ground for 72 hours, so it's only a few hours since before, and marigolds have started to pop up, and the iceberg lettuces are way more obvious. We've got some little gem lettuces now popping up. Don't know if you can see because I have to restrain the dog. And the cosmos, or cosmos, however you want to say it, are looking fantastic. So these ones were grown from last year's flowers that we harvested recently, actually, not that long ago. So I'm excited. It's looking very positive.